Hi, I'm Jake with Hayneedle. Today we're going to do a quick assembly tutorial of the charming Richland mini haul tree. This assembly will take you roughly an hour, and the only tools required are an Allen wrench, which is included, and a Phillips head screwdriver, which is not. First, it's a good idea to remove all the contents from the box and do a brief inventory of all the parts and pieces. For this first step, we will need our mirror frame labeled as J, our upper back panel labeled as I, our connection slat labeled as G, as well as our Allen wrench labeled as W, two of our bolts labeled as R, two of our plug nuts labeled as N, two of our cam locks labeled as P, and two of our cam screws labeled as O, as well as one wooden dowel which is labeled as Q. Now we can insert our wooden dowel into the upper back panel, and using a Phillips head screwdriver, screw our cam screws into the mirror frame. Next, we can insert the cam screws and wooden dowel into the corresponding holes. Next, we can drop in our cam locks and tighten down with a Phillips head screwdriver. Next, we will add on our connection slat. First, I'd like to add the plug nuts, the corresponding holes, and placing the bolts through part G. Next, we can place the bolts through the holes and through the plug nuts. Tightening them with our Allen wrench. Be careful not to over-tighten your bolts. For this next step, we're going to use 10 cam screws, 10 cam locks, as well as our top right side panel labeled as part K, and our top left side panel labeled as part L. Now grab one of your side panels, K or L, and we're going to take a Phillips head screwdriver and go ahead and put our cam screws in the corresponding holes. Once all the cam screws have been tightened into place, we can now take our side panels and insert them into the corresponding holes. Now we can drop our cam locks down into the holes. Tighten into place with the Phillips head screwdriver. Now we can repeat the same process on the opposite side. In this next step, we will need our front panel labeled as D, our bottom panel labeled as F, our back panel labeled as E, as well as 4 cam screws and 4 cam locks. Alright, now we can take our cam screws and insert them in the corresponding holes on part D. Tighten down with your Phillips head and repeat the same process on part E. Now that our cam screws are in place, we can slide them into the corresponding holes in part F and lock them down with our cam locks. Then we would repeat this process in part D. Now we can go ahead and grab our Allen wrench, 8 wooden dowels, 8 cam screws, 8 cam locks, as well as 4 bolts with washers labeled as M. Also, we will need part B, which is your left side frame, and part C, which is your right side frame. Now I've gone ahead and inserted the wooden dowels into the outside holes. I'm going to go ahead and add our cam screws to the inner holes of part C. Now we can take our right side frame and go ahead and drop them into the corresponding holes. Then lock them into place with their cam locks. Now we can repeat the process on the other side. Now we can take our bolts with washers, slide them in the slots provided at the bottom, and tighten down with our Allen wrench. Now you want to grab 4 cam screws and attach 2 to the bottom of each side panel. Now we can insert the cam screws into the corresponding holes of the bottom piece and secure with cam locks. Now we'll take our bolts with washers and insert them through the bottom piece and tighten down with our Allen wrench. Alright, now we want to take our top panel, labeled as H, and turn it upside down so the holes are facing up. We will need 6 cam screws as well as 6 cam locks. We'll just go ahead and take those, screw them into the holes, and tighten them down with our screwdriver. Once all those are in, we can insert part H into the top here and secure with our cam locks. Next we can grab our metal connectors labeled as A1 and our screws labeled as Y. Line up our metal connector, the holes provided, and screw into place. And repeat the process on the other side. Here we have our seat panel labeled as A and our hinges labeled as X. What we want to do is, with the 2 holes facing up on the L-shaped side of the hinge, insert 2 screws and tighten down with your screwdriver. Don't forget the ones on the side. Now we've taken our seat panel and aligned the holes on our hinges with the holes in the bottom piece. Make sure that your hole for a future step is over here on the left on the bottom. Now screw in using your screwdriver and repeat the process with the other hinge. Now take your safety spring labeled as S and align with the holes on the left side frame. Now using your round-headed screws labeled as U, we can fasten the safety spring into place. With your screws now tightened on the top and bottom of your safety spring and the lid still open, we can now take our bumpers labeled as V and attach them to our lower piece. Now we can take our hooks labeled as T and align with the holes in the back panel and secure with our screwdriver. And there you have it, you've completed your Richland mini haul tree. Thanks for watching, hope it helps your assembly process.